No cursing.
I guess no cursing, yeah.
Okay. I'll try. My name is Pawlaczyk. I am a preparator at local museums, generally, art galleries. That's what I call myself, preparator. A preparator is a person who's in charge of the physical aspects of installations, of exhibitions, large and small. In some cases, in museums and art galleries. In some cases, they manage and care for collections, they make certain that there's the equipment that's on hand to do special tasks. They do everything that the public sees that a museum does. So the public doesn't know what goes into the planning generally, but they see what the preparator has done. So the preparator does the final step before the work becomes visible to the public.
Okay, so how did you get started doing this kind of work?
I was an art student. Then I got into graphic arts and worked as an audiovisual artist and producer-director of audiovisual presentations in Philadelphia. In the mid-'80s, I think, is when the computers came in and start doing things that artists did normally on boards. And I really didn't like the quality of work that was coming out of the early computers. They were pretty fundamentally bad. But that's what everybody was buying because it was new. So I got out of that and had lots of connections in the art community in Philadelphia. Someone told me that there was an opening for a preparator part-time, or at least for just one exhibition, a Franz Klein exhibition. So I applied to the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts and got that job. From there, because I had credentials at that place, I springboarded into various art centers, Cheltenham, Wayne, any of the local larger art centers that have regular exhibitions. So it started from that, snowballed into a full-time job at the Reading Public Museum where I was for 10 years. What I enjoy most about this work goes back to my being an artist. My main goal as an artist was to affect people in some way. My own painting, even though I had some success in exhibiting it and selling it, and my graphics work I was able to live off of. But the real thing I really want to do besides create is affect people, so that when people walk into a gallery, they see something hanging, they're affected by it. Even if I had nothing to do with the creation of the artwork itself, what I had to do with was presenting it to the public in a manner that they can appreciate and is not broken up, is rhythmic. If you look at exhibitions that I've set up and suggested how to set up, there's a rhythm to them. They're up and down as how they move around the room. There's not just, unless the artist only does things in one size, there's a rhythm that moves like music, which I'm also interested in. So that's that.
All right. What's something you like the least about working as a preparator?
Moving gigantic objects made of MDF material. MDF is a compressed board that's very inexpensive that a lot of children's exhibitions are constructed of. They're made of the MDF board because it's really rigid. It's also extremely heavy. It's twice as heavy, if not more, than normal plywood. So that was always an issue, which is why I really stopped working at one of my former employers, because that's all they really wanted me to do. Move heavy stuff. Yeah. 700 pounds was not uncommon for me to have to move by myself. I think it would be nice if people understood that things just don't appear where they are, that someone actually had to plan to put them there, all the way from the curator of an exhibition to the preparator, who usually work hand in hand or argue hand in hand. They, you know, it requires some thought to have things go where they go. It's not just find a little painting the size of a postage stamp and put it in the middle of a wall, although that can be done too. But I would really be nice if people understood what goes into making an artistic presentation, that it's not only artistic in content, but artistic in the way it's viewed.
What is your most favorite thing you've ever installed at a museum?
There's been several things. When you asked me about that earlier today, I immediately start thinking about the things that were difficult, but also a lot of fun. Two things immediately came to mind. One was moving a car that had been cut in half from grill to taillights, getting that to the second floor of the museum when it was too big to fit in the elevator. So that was a process that required actually pushing the car into the elevator while the elevator was on the floor, and then lowering the elevator gradually so that the car could stand upright on its back bumper and go upstairs, and then the process was reversed. The other one is like unloading a full-size dinosaur from a 53-foot truck and getting that into the same size small elevators, because only the largest museums like in Washington have elevators capable of handling gigantic objects. But when you have like a Tyrannosaurus Rex or a Triceratops, and you're crushed in an elevator with a Triceratops, it's a very unique experience. Those things I liked a lot. I like doing those challenge things, putting huge paintings up on the wall, creating paintings to, I'm sorry, I'm jumping here, like creating a Van Gogh to go to Europe, you know, taking things off the wall there's so many things, because you know you look at a Van Gogh and it's a painting on the top, and you turn it around and there's all this stuff written on the back, and nobody ever sees that except the preparator or the curator. So that's really cool, you know. One I can't remember who the artist was, but it was a tall painting, and maybe 8 feet tall, and on the back of the painting was written, "This painting must hang no less than 5 inches from the floor." And I just thought, well, of course, but it's just silly to see things like that. And so that was part of the things that's what was enjoyable, moving artwork, seeing parts of artworks that no one else gets to see, and then having to figure out how to move things that are bigger than you'd ever expect you'd have to move. There. I'm done now.
Do you have a favorite exhibition that you worked on for the Berman Museum? Or maybe like a memorable experience from working as a preparator here?
Well, the thing about the Berman Museum is that everybody is extremely reasonable, and they're very artistically minded. So working at the Berman is actually a blessing, because what happens here is that curators of exhibitions are generally level-headed and really have an understanding of what needs to be done and how things should be exhibited. There's been times where I've worked for places where that's not the case, and there's a lot of argument and confusion about how things are supposed to go up on the wall. But the Berman, I don't have a particular show that's favorite. They're all nice. I've enjoyed doing them all. I wish I could have done more, but like putting that Sputnik out back, I thought that might have been fun. Hanging some kind of giant chrome foil thing from the ceiling, that's just it's neat stuff. It's neat stuff. I respect all kinds of artwork. It doesn't have to be all generally like, Degas, Van Gogh, or Piero della Francesca. I like a lot of different types. So, and I think even the smallest pieces done by the least known artists are as valuable, generally to me, although not on the open market, but to me, as any other one. They're all equal. So that's fun. It's fun to do that. It's fun to put everything up.
Yeah.
It was fun to hang this thing. This thing behind me. It was fun.
I know.
And it was confusing because you have to figure out how to get it in so that it doesn't tear. And that's see, one of the things that people don't understand is when you're dealing with stuff that's really big and heavy and cumbersome and whatever the next word might be that comes to mind regarding that, is that they're also valuable. So you can't just like, it's a block of steel, just throw it on the floor. You can't do that. You have to make certain that it's around for a long period of time, and you have to treat it with respect. And I wish people would understand that more. Then they would stop touching stuff.
Yeah, that's a big issue. Touching.
I don't think that a job like this should go away. I don't think that it should be affected by market value. I don't think that we should replace images of children's art with place those on walls instead of Degas, or which seems to be something I'm just stuck on today. Maybe it's because of my mask I just bought. Anyway, no, that was a Van Gogh. I think it's important to maintain a sense about what value art has and how much all aspects of art, from design all the way through two-dimensional to three-dimensional objects, actually affect us in life that we don't even realize. So I would hope people would pay more attention to that. Yeah.